more demanding when tariffs become hiked. Electricity supply is not just epileptic in my country. A hike in electricity tariff at this time is a living hell, if you ask me. A 40% hike in electricity tariff is in the works and planned for July 1st. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, the Trade Union Congress, TUC, and civil society organizations, CSOs, have all become scandalized and are asking government to shelve the idea. All three groups say the plan is not only inauspicious and insensitive, but reflects an organized indifference to the plight of the poor masses of Nigerians. Tunde.
Well, I think these are the consequences when you run a mono economy, an economy that relies solely on one product. The fluctuating price of oil in the international market and the withdrawal of subsidy has actually disrupted lives in Nigeria, because 90% of transportation in Nigeria, 90% of industry, except probably Cabri or one or two, they are using electricity. In most cases, they use diesel. So when something happens to oil,
diesel price, I understand,
that has always been going on, and it will go up again. So when something happens to the major product, you have multiplier effect, and that is what we have to deal with now. It is not an excuse, because as far as I'm concerned, since 10 years ago, when we sold, when we dismantled NEPA, all those people bought IKEDC, eco-electricity, they have not even justified that they are running as a private entity. Because people still buy their electric poles, they still buy their transformer, they still do anything. The only thing
cables and stuff.
These discos and telcos are doing is not just to rip people off. So the thing now is that now when we now bring a new price now, it used to be maybe those in the category of D and C, it used to be 50 naira to 47 naira. There are some that are probably A, B, C. Their rate is different. Now, but those people who fall within the poverty level are between 50 D and E, and you are now asking them to pay 67 naira per unit, up to 70 naira per unit. Already, their take-home pay has not been increased. Because all these things, there has to be a synergy with all these things. I want to believe the president is adequately prepared for this office, and he has seen a lot of things, and that explains why he called a meeting within a week of labor, of the tripartite committee, to look at the far-reaching effect. Because you are not only about fixing price or increasing salary, it's about all those little effects. Because it is what a worker takes home that matters. It is not what you pay him. When he has to pay, was paying 50 naira per unit before, he now has to pay 67 naira per unit, 70 naira per unit. He has to pay more money. I have a daughter who works on the island. Every day she has to spend about 3,000 naira to go to work every day. So multiply that one by about 4,000 by 5. That's about 20,000 in a week. So multiply them by that one by 4 weeks, 80,000.
Otherwise, how much can you possibly pay her?
So you have to subsidize her.
Working on the island is expensive.
It's very, very expensive.
Very expensive.
And that is when you get a place of work to go. So I believe that they should give us service. Yes, there is practically nothing we can do with regard to them jacking this thing up, because it is the reality of the moment. But I can't see, for instance, in my community now, they bought the transformer they say about 10, 12 years ago, 15 years. It was supposed to be 500 kVA. It is now 300 kVA. The number of people using that transformer has quadrupled over the years. NEPA has taken over everything. They have not changed the transformer, and they have increased the levy. At the end of the day, NEPA will tell you that what TCN gives them, because TCN, Transmission Company of Nigeria, they will give this course. They can say, we'll give you probably maybe 50 million naira worth of light. It is for them to distribute that light. They must collect that 50 million naira. So these codes are looking for all ways possible not to spend money. All those who bought all those discos, we have to go to this. They did not invest in transformer, in so many other things that will make the people even enjoy the little electricity you are giving them. So it is not this time that they should be talking of increasing tariff if they cannot improve on the service that they are providing for the people. It is unfortunate.
Otherwise, ordinarily, Solomon,
it is not this time.
You would say something like, Nigerians are ready to pay anything, so far as the electricity supply is steady?
Nigerians, yeah, okay, fine. I enjoy electricity personally, so
You generate your own
no, I don't generate it, so I enjoy electricity.
Few fortunate ones.
I'm probably one of the few fortunate ones in my little quarter of Lagos, where I live on the mainland. So I enjoy electricity. But first, let us break it down. So it's not just about me; it's about majority of us.
Solomon, before you break it down, let's make some money. We'll go on another commercial break. We should be back. Please stay with us.
TerraQ, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
Well, our story is about the planned 40% hike in electricity tariff in my country. And we have told you about the three institutions, the NLC, the TUC, and the CSOs, the civil society organizations, kicking against the raise. Today, what we have done with electricity supply over time is unfortunate, avoidable. We caused it. Because I remember in the twilight days of the Obasanjo regime, about 6 or 8 months to the end, he hurriedly set up 10 private electricity generating plants across the country. Nothing happened.
You see, like he said, these people bought. They bought. It's like window shopping. That is what it has come to.
Those who bought the discos?
Yes, what it has come to be for Nigerians now.
Sorry, are you saying they never knew what they were buying?
I believe that there was no enough sincerity, both on the part of the sellers and those who bought the discos. For the part of the sellers,
maybe I have to.
There was no enough sincerity. If those who purchased it know the content of what they have purchased, probably they have negotiated another way. Well, I know that the problem Buhari and co had was that if you terminate their contract for probably 10 years, you pay about 600 billion for breaching of that particular contract. I used to explain to people for breaching that contract.
And don't you think that was a part of the problem, putting that clause in the contract?
Well, like I said, if the purchase, if the agreement was transparent enough on all sides, it should have been ironed out before it was sold. But it was not transparent. It's like buying a house that you've never inspected.
So breaking it down, I think you talked about Obasanjo, President Obasanjo. That President Obasanjo hurriedly did that before leaving office is a mere contradiction in itself. Because back between 1999 and 2007, when then Governor Bola Tinubu brought in Aaron and proposed the dismantling of the current electricity structure in the country to allow regions and states and private people who can do this, generate power in the locations where they are, generate it and make the money. The same President Obasanjo kicked against it, frustrated Aaron. We seem to forget that easily.
I remember.
So if that happened with him and he had to quickly do this, it shows that he probably does not have an understanding of what he was doing himself. No, let's no. I think that those
who is this he?
I think that the president and the Nigerian government not understanding exactly how this should work. Sometimes when you take up someone's idea without involving the people who generated the idea, who thought about this in the first place, the people who bought probably bought on the potential, based on the promise of the perceived potential that this was going to give to them. But what is the structure of this dismantling of the electricity structure? Now, how do I invest my money in something that does not guarantee that I have to generate the electricity and make my money? Why do I have to? You talked about diesel, when you were talking about diesel and PMS and crude oil. And the first question that came to my mind is, do you generate electricity using diesel at the massive level, at the countrywide level? No, there are two major fuel base of power generation at the moment in Nigeria. Nuclear is not part of them. It would have been a third one. So you have hydroelectricity and you have thermal gas stations.
Yeah, gas, yeah.
Now we don't use coal anymore. It would have been 4. We have abandoned coal. And now that they're talking about climate change, everybody's saying, no, we can't use coal. But is it the reality that we employ these climate change issues when we have not met even the fundamental issues where we have abundance of coal to do that? So we have a problem where we dismantle this power, electricity distribution structures, and we are not allowing these people, the telecom companies are generating their own signals and doing their own things and making their own money. Why can't we look at that model for electricity where we break into regions?
But thankfully, the current president has signed a law which you as an individual and a company can generate electricity and make money. And states too.
Well, fine. We need to take a look at the component of the law. The president probably signed that into law, probably because that was his own idea when he came with the idea. When President Tinubu came with the idea of Enron and regional generation or state generation of electricity, one of the things you need to understand is that there had been no law to that effect in the first place. He probably just looked at the constitution and said, okay, there's a lacuna here, we can do it. It is not only the federal government that should provide electricity. Well, and so he came with the idea of Enron.
If you told me in the same breath now that Governor Bola Tinubu then meant to bring Enron here and generate electricity.
Exactly.
So how would they possibly hurriedly sign a law like that without
I think we have to get
knowing the components?
I think we have to get something clear. See, one of the fundamental problems where we are still discussing about electricity now is the kind of structure that we are operating in Nigeria. The various governments, right from even Obasanjo that was supposed to know, we have been bogged down by this unitary system, unbridled unitarism that we are using to run Nigeria. And it can never work because it has never worked anywhere in the world. Even the Soviet Union tried it between 1914 and 1991, the thing collapsed because you cannot mingle everything together that has different areas. So until we look at that structure, I think that was what Buhari tried to do by saying that it's okay, if people have been talking about electricity and railway, regions and states cannot have their own railway. If that was what probably Asiwaju Tinubu or Obasanjo was in that, but all these people who ruled us, they have a unitary mindset. And that was why Obasanjo carried that very brilliant idea by President Tinubu now, then governor of Lagos.
So
they have a unitary mindset.
But President Tinubu has just signed a deal. And that bill you are talking about, well, of course, it's not the first time we are signing. It's not the first time we are signing an electricity bill. What we are saying is this is not the first time we are signing into law an electricity bill for an act, to liberalize electricity. This is an update, an upgrade of what the bill, of what the law.
I think the real problem there that we don't know, since we're talking about, is that issue of transmission. You can generate
is major
transmission company in Nigeria will take it back from you, what you generate, and they will not decide to distribute it to where they want.
That is the major problem.
The major problem. So what we need now is that for ability of states or private sector to generate, transmit, and distribute
within their own structure, and we determine what measure can be given to the
I say this almost all the time I have the opportunity. My state generates from the Ibom power plant at Ikorobasi, 101 megawatts And the whole state does not need as many as 50, 60 megawatts. But
At
you
the
empty
moment.
all that,
Well,
yeah,
it
you
was
empty
transmission
all that
company,
into the national grid.
It's not necessary.
Nothing comes
It's
back.
It's not necessary.
So now states have the power to generate
Exactly.
and circulate.
Exactly.
And transmit.
Not just the states.
All right. Well,
Private individuals who can invest.
I hear we must go. Time is a master. But today, let's thank you for having been a part of it.
Yes,
thank you.
Very much. Thank you.
Many thanks, Solomon.
You're welcome.
Okay, just to remind you that Tunde is unavoidably absent.
No,
He should be back over the weekend. Babajide Otitojo, I'm sorry, is unavoidably absent. And again, we are sorry we started a little late. So we must thank you for your time. It's time to go. If you missed any part of this broadcast, join us later tonight at 11. And of course, on Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 to 3:30 for Journalist Hangout. And we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.